Hey, it's Chris. Today's video is probably going to upset some people. I'm probably going to get a few unsubscribes. I'll probably get the odd angry email as well. Despite that, I'm going to do it anyway because it's what I think is true, and it wouldn't be the first time that's happened. Because today I'm talking about pain science, which I know triggers some people, and people have strong opinions on either side. And I'm going to talk about pain science and what I think it's missing and what I think we get wrong with it, and how pain science can actually be detrimental to patients. Now, full disclaimer, having scared some people with that, I'm a big fan of pain science, or as some people would just call it, science. But the knowledge, that I came across this after I've been out a few years, that actually the structural biomechanistic model isn't explaining everything. I'm really glad I found that out, and discovering that pain is influenced a lot by top-down beliefs and the context, and that pain can occur in the absence of injury, and injury can occur in the absence of pain. That was all great. It was a very tough 6 months when I found that out, because it cast into doubt all these ideas that I've been working on, and it made me think, oh my God, I've yellow flagged everyone into maintenance care forever, and I've been freaking people out and using this horrible language. Luckily, I got through that, and things are okay. But pain science has massively informed what I do as a chiropractor. It's really informed my work with patients, and it's really informed my approach to communication and the content and the material that I put out for clinicians as well. It's a big part of that. I think it's great. I really like that it's there, but it's not an all-encompassing benevolent good. There are downsides to this, particularly the way I see it being practiced. And I think one of the biggest issues with pain science is that it can be, used incorrectly, very patronizing. The idea that by using a certain bit of language, by using one word, by using misaligned, or probably even not torn, but like out of alignment or wonky or a bit unstable, the idea that using that once is going to create yellow flags in somebody and a lifetime of anxiety and chronicity in every patient is patronizing and frankly a little bit disempowering to patients. The idea that they're all so fragile that this could happen as a one-off, like, come on. That's really not true. And that looks as people as incredibly fragile, and that thank God that we're here as the hero, the doctors who are going to correct that and save them from this language. It can be quite doctor-centered if it's done badly. I have patients who I've known for quite a while who will talk and go, yeah, my back's gone out of line again. Oh, it's popped out of place. Or, oh yeah, I'm misaligned again. Or, oh, I'm wonky. And they come in. These are active copers, people who generally do very well, no yellow flags. And they come in and we treat them and a couple of sessions and off they go. And I don't see them again for a while. And then they do something again because they got carried away with gardening, or they just lifted a box that was way heavier than one they were used to. And they come back in and go, oh, it's gone out of alignment. These are psychologically healthy people who don't have a recurring issue of chronicity down to all these yellow flags and fear-avoidant beliefs. They treat their back like it's strong because it is, but they use this language sometimes. And if I was going to come in and start trying to re-educate them, which sounds like a camp or something, but then I'm going to come in and go, actually, John, all your beliefs about your back are wrong and incorrect, and this isn't happening, and that's what's happening. And it's important that you know that, because otherwise it's disempowering, it's going to change the way you move, it's going to change the way you think about things, and you're going to get anxiety, and that's going to scare you, and that's going to turn the volume up on this pain. Like, if I said this to some of these patients, it would clearly not go down well, and it wouldn't help them. All that would happen is they would think, Chris has lost his marbles a little bit, maybe I'm going to go find another chiropractor. So it's not that this stuff is wrong, it's just that you don't necessarily need to use it with every patient. The idea that using this language once on somebody is going to cause chronicity it's an overcorrection. Yes, using bone out of place models is a bad idea, and doing that with every patient is going to create some chronicity for sure. But there's some nuance here. And sometimes the language patients use might not be pain science approved, but it's the language they use. And as long as it's not associated with fear-avoidant beliefs and catastrophizing, who are you as a chiropractor to come in and tell them they need to change? That's quite doctor-centered, if you ask me. You're asking them to believe the same as you if you're going to help them. I would argue it's much more patient-centered in these cases to go, okay, that's the language they use, I'm going to use that language. Provided you know that it's not feeding catastrophizing, fear-avoidant stuff, it's okay to use that language with them. Like, that's not a problem, because you're not making them worse. You're meeting them where they're at. And sometimes, even if it is, you might need to do that to build some rapport and get them to trust you. And then over time, maybe you want to start to bring them towards a more empowering use of language. That's fine. But it's very, very patronizing to assume that every patient is just about to be yellow flagged unless you use this specific set of words and language there. So there is nuance here, like there is in all theories and all models. The phrase I love, one of the things I love at the moment is all models are wrong, it's just that some are useful. And that goes back to some of the older theories around structural care. You know, the models are wrong, but they can still be useful. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And the same is true of our current understanding of pain science. It is a model, which means it is wrong, but it could still be useful. There's Morten Hoch, he's a associate professor over in Denmark, does a lot of work as a physio with chronic pain. He lectures on this stuff. I met him at a talk, and he said, look, central sensitization, he's like, that's BS. Like, that doesn't exist. We just made up central sensitization. Does it mean that those effects that it describes aren't seen? No, something's going on there. But the idea that this is happening in the dorsal horn of the spinal cord, he's like, that's BS. We've made it up. We have no idea if it's true. It's a model. It's false. But it might still be useful. So I'd bear that in mind. Maybe some of you need to hear this. It's okay to use some of this language sometimes if your patient uses that and it's not disempowering and it's not associated with those beliefs. Like, to me, that's all right. Doesn't mean you should use it with everybody. No. Just like you shouldn't use anything with everybody. That's a bad idea. But just like you would tailor the treatment style to the patient, tailor your communication style as well. And it's okay to sometimes use language the patient uses, even if it's not the language you would use. Now, if I'm describing something to someone for the first time, no, I'm not going to talk about a slip disc because I don't think discs slip. But does that mean I'm never going to use that phrase with the patient? No. I may use that with them if that's what they need to build the trust and rapport. And if it's not associated with negatives, then it's okay. So that's what I would say. The people I think who really hate that message are probably logged off. But if that's caused any questions for you or you want to discuss that further, like by all means, shout out in the group. If you wanted to reply or say something back, then shoot me an email. But hopefully that's been helpful for some of you. Hope it's not upset too many people. And yeah, again, big fan of pain science. I just don't like the way it's being used sometimes. So that's me, Chris out. Any messages, just let me know. Take care, guys.